The information given on this program is not, nor is it intended to be legal advice. You should consult an attorney for individual advice regarding your own situation. Legal Help Live is brought to you by Pan's Restaurant and Coffee Shop at 6710 La Tierra Boulevard in Los Angeles. Barney's Beanery at 8447 Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood. iLearnFast.com, a division of CityCom, and Rodolfo Buonocore at www.rodolfobuonocore.com.
Hey, welcome to Legal Help Live. I'm Steve Solomon. I'm a lawyer in Southern California, and
I'm Ryan Kroll. I'm also a lawyer in Southern California.
that's frightening, man.
Very frightening.
Wow, back from a vacation, and
I am.
and we were really lucky to get you back.
I just say get rid of me for 2 weeks.
And for those of you who are interested in discrimination or job problems, or whether you're laid off, being paid the right wages, or whether you have an employment problem, we've got an educational website up there. It's called mybossstinks.com. Just like the words are, mybossstinks.com. You get onto a special website. It tells you all about discrimination, disability, whether you're getting paid overtime, etc. mybossstinks.com. So if you have some questions that we don't answer on the show, mybossstinks.com, which I think is kind of interesting. Or you can call 555-BAD-BOSS, which I thought was even more. We're lawyers. We're out here to talk about your legal problems, trying to help you with issues. So what's going on, Ryan?
In the law, well, there's an interesting new First Amendment cases out there.
First Amendment.
And you're familiar with the First Amendment.
Is that still viable here in California?
In California it is. Maybe in the South it's not as much. But you never know. But the interesting is that it's being filed by the cigarette companies.
Who?
The cigarette companies, the Marlboros.
Oh, cigarette companies.
Yeah,
okay.
they're now being required to have even more warnings on their cartons, and warning people about the hazards of smoking and why cigarettes are bad. And so they're now claiming that this is an impeachment of their First Amendment rights to be able to say what they want, because it's so limiting in what says in their own cartons, and they're so restricted from promoting their own product that their First Amendment rights are no longer valid, and they're being violated.
Well, I think we have killed more people. Well, I know we have. We've killed more people by smoking than we have ever had by the use of the death penalty in California, and even at Texas and every state in the union. So how they can say that, quote, cigarettes are not deadly, I thought we got over that. They don't have a First Amendment right to talk about to sell like killer products, do they?
Well, they have a First Amendment right to say to sell their own product. It is commercial speech. They can't lie. They can't put a false statement down there, but there's no reason why, if they're selling their product, they can't make truthful statements about their products. And to have maybe one small portion of it, say a Surgeon General's warning, is one thing, but the new warnings and restrictions are so over the top. They're saying they're no longer able to even sell their own product. They're basically just having to advertise their product as deadly.
Well, maybe the real solution to the problem is just abolish the product, make it illegal, and get it out of the country completely. They can sell their products as they are in other parts of the world, and then they don't have a First Amendment problem, because it's then a, quote, criminal activity, and therefore you can't advertise it, I would suspect. I think that every state in the United States, through the Attorney General's office, every public interest law firm, every person who cared, fought very arduously to get them to put these restrictions on the cigarettes, and I would think that they're going to have to go a long, high road to hell to get this to change, and I would suspect that they'll lose that issue.
Well,
What do you think?
I don't think they necessarily will. I think the problem is the initial warnings and restrictions were necessary. It was, at the time, people maybe didn't know how harmful cigarettes were. But this is 20 years later, and these restrictions are going way over the top. They're going further than they ever went before. They're basically saying if you have one cigarette, you're going to die. Now, that's not truthful. That's the problem, is there's such a reaction to all smoking that people have gone over the top and now want to ban it everywhere. You want to ban it in the entire United States. This is not what the United States is about. It's not what the Constitution is about. They're allowed to have their First Amendment right to sell their own product as long as it's truthful. If they want to have a warning on there, fine, a small warning that has very scientific that states this can endanger your health is one thing, but the statements now are just one smoking you're dead, and that's just not the truth.
I would probably make the warning go even further. I would probably put the warning on every cigarette. I would make it in, I would put skull and crossbones on every cigarette. I would do a lot more than is being done now. I have no great heart feeling that they're losing any money. It is a killer product, in my humble opinion. It is addictive, and it as you can go. We used to go by and see those hundreds and hundreds of people dying every day on those billboards, and you watch some of the public health commercials that they're required to put out. And in my humble opinion, it requires a ban. I think they're just lucky they got away with a ban. Maybe abolishment would have been an appropriate remedy. And then you free speech liberal individuals who want to put this product of dispersion of death out there would have something really to say if we abolish it.
Well, it's the liberals that want to get rid of the product. I think it's a constitutional right for people to make their own decision to have a cigarette. Do I think it's healthy? Absolutely not. Would I encourage anyone to do it? Absolutely not.
Cities are banning even the use of the product in public places. For instance, in Santa Monica, many public places you can't use it. In Beverly Hills, many public places you can't use it. So if we can ban the product, you don't think we can make them put a warning label on it?
You can ban the product in public, but if someone wants to smoke in their own house, they're a Darwin
Well, they can
product.
get.
I mean, Charles Darwin would love these people to sit in their own house, smoke it all day, have a great time.
If they're offended by the language, then all they have to do when they go home is take it out of the carton and put it in a little bag, and then they can go around and be dumb and dumber and smoke themselves to death. But keep their windows closed. Don't live next door to people who don't want to have the smoke. But I don't really, I understand, I appreciate your argument. I just think you're playing wrong.
Of course you do.
1-800-405-4222. If you want to, who was it? Smoke that cigarette. Was that Johnny Cash or was that?
I don't think it was Johnny Cash, but.
Okay. Those of you out there, who was that smoke that cigarette? I think that would be perfect for this situation, but don't smoke it in my way. 1-800-405-4222. Landlord-tenant problems, parking tickets, traffic tickets, accident cases. MyBossStinks.com if you're into discrimination. You can tweet us, you can Twitter us. If you want to talk about it, we'll take your call. Immigration.
And you can tweet us at Legal Help Live is the message, and we'll get it right here on our desk, so we'll be happy to talk to you about that as well.
So, one of the interesting things that I think has been going on lately is the whole issue on Prop 13 and taxes, property taxes. Now, we all know that many governments are having huge financial problems.
Sure.
So, the move now is to quote, widen the tax base. And for those of you who are over or under 30 years of age, the history of Prop 13 is that people were being taxed out of their houses. Property taxes became so high that somebody would have a house, and as they got older and were living on, quote, Social Security, which is probably enough to buy a couple of cans of dog food a month and a few other things, were being taxed out of their houses. So the voters of California limited property taxes to basically about 1.25 times the price that you paid for your house. And it could go up every year by that amount at the maximum. So people weren't losing their homes at that time because of quote, tax increases. Now people are trying to look for any way they can to take money out of your pocket to try and spend it responsibly or irresponsibly, and I can give you some comments on that. So now I see that the mayor of Los Angeles wants to support the position of doing away with Prop 13 for commercial properties. So that would be apartment houses and office buildings, etc. You think that's a great way to spend our legal resources?
It's a great way to bring more funds into the city, that's for sure.
And
there's no reason why not to. This is a time that economic crisis and that everyone needs to pitch in. And I think that these tax breaks were created on a different mindset of a different time as to when counties, cities needed money. Now the demand is higher, and so everyone does have to sacrifice.
so I see not only do you want to allow the use of cigarettes without warnings on them, you now want to tax the older people in America, the retired people, the retired annuitants. You want to take any restrictions off their property taxes and make them pay more taxes so they can get in the bread lines and lose their houses and put them on the streets.
No, this is regarding commercial property.
Oh, you're only in favor for commercial property.
Take away from commercial property. We're not going to lose your house. It's commercial property. That's not affecting anyone. This is affecting people that maybe they are of senior age. Maybe they expected this to stay forever, but you're not going to lose your home. And that goes right back to the same thing of everyone should have to pitch in. There's millions of people out there right now that are pitching in by being homeless, by losing their house, by losing their jobs. To tax a little bit more on someone's commercial property, it's not asking too much at all. It's the bare minimum.
But do you think it's a slippery slope where we end up, the next thing is once you can do it commercially, then you'll say, well, you know, it's really not that bad. Everybody needs to pitch in. Let's make sure that we raise the taxes on people's home property taxes. Isn't the better way to be much more fiscally responsible and spend the money in a different thing? I mean, I can remember not too long ago when a large number of the red light cameras, which were supposedly revenue-raising things, were not turned on in the city of Los Angeles. I now note that that the bus benches, which the city leased out to a commercial enterprise, they decided not to renew the contract. They didn't have another contract in effect, so the bus bench guy has now removed his benches in 2 or 3 councilmanic districts in the city of LA. So you want to give more money to this type of operation?
Unfortunately, yes. It's our government. Until we start electing better officials, then yes. I don't want to see people out there homeless, and I don't want to see people out there struggling to survive.
1-800-405-4222. We've got some lines open in Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley. If you get on the air today, you will get a dinner or lunch for 2 at a restaurant of our choosing. 1-800-405-4222. We're going to break now. This is Legal Help Live, and we'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Legal Help Live.
Giving a little can mean a lot to people who are hungry and homeless. Victims of domestic violence need help every day.
I'm here to volunteer.
Together, we can do it. If you do one thing, take one step to help those who need it the most in your community. You just might find that you can bring a smile to those who need it the most. Share your caring at opcc.org.
Looking for something to do this week? You could visit the California Heritage Museum. The museum is open every Wednesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. till 4. Stop by and catch our latest exhibit, find unusual gifts in the museum shop, and picnic on the lawn. We're a block from the beach at Ocean Park Boulevard and Main Street in Santa Monica. The California Heritage Museum. Discover us.
When I grow up, I want to help animals. When I grow up, I want to help animals. When I grow up, I want to help animals.
Tom is my brother. He always made me laugh.
Tom is my firstborn. I taught him how to drive.
Tom is my son. At 20, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. The illness took him to the street and we feared we'd lost him forever.
But I got help from Step Up on Second, and today I have a home. And my friends and family are back in my life.
Step Up on Second, rebuilding lives one step at a time.
And we said we're coming back, and we're back. This is Legal Help Live. We answer your legal questions. The number is going up on the screen, 1-800-405-4222. I'm Steve Solomon. To my left, to your right, is your right wing, Ryan Kroll, attorney, who lives right of the boulevard. And I bet you even live north of Sunset. That makes you pretty, no?
No.
No. You're down there in... You're probably down there in Venice, California, or
having a good old time down there.
When we've been talking about smoking, etc., and we'll give you some answers a little bit. But before we went on break, we told you we had some lines open. For those of you who are calling in, if you get on the air, you get dinner for two. It's at our restaurant of our choice, and just call the number that's on the screen after the show and leave your name and phone number, and we'll get it back to you, and a place to send the dinner for two. And let's go to some callers now. Hello? Ralph, you're on air with Legal Help Live, and how can we help you?
Yes, I'm living in a building in West Hollywood, and they currently made it non-smoking, and you cannot, the owner contends that you cannot even smoke in your own apartment. Is this legal?
Well, let's talk to our legal smoking correspondent, Ryan Kroll, who comes all the way from Cape Cod to be on the show. You were in Cape Cod.
I was there. I was all around. The answer is, if you're renting your apartment?
Yes.
Okay, so he's the landlord. He is allowed to set the rules.
Oh,
yes. He owns the property.
Whoa. The question is, does the city, and Ralph, correct me if I'm wrong, does the city of West Hollywood prohibit you smoking in your own apartment? That's the first question. And that was the question you were answering, Ralph?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, city of West Hollywood.
Yeah, does the city of West Hollywood...
I don't know if they have a...
I feel it's against my rights. If I'm inside my apartment and I'm not committing a crime, why should I not be able to smoke in my own apartment?
You know, I don't think any city ordinance, and I could be wrong at this, and I have been known to be wrong. And if I'm wrong, somebody call in from the city of West Hollywood and tell me. But I don't think the city of West Hollywood, I don't think of any governmental ordinance precludes smoking in your own private apartment. It may well preclude smoking in public common areas, but I don't believe the city of West Hollywood smoking ordinance. It does have restrictions in public places like restaurants, bars, for instance, parks and places like that. But I don't believe it precludes you from smoking in your own apartment. To get back to what Ryan said, if you have a lease and one of the rules would be there's no smoking in your apartment, and you knew the rule and you signed into it, that may be something else.
Right.
No, this is a new thing. He just says this is a non-smoking building now, and you're not allowed to smoke in your apartment.
Does he have smoke detectors in the apartment?
Yes.
Is the apartment all residential?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
the building itself.
And how many units?
Oh, I would say about 39, 40.
Okay, you know what? We're not positive about the city ordinance, so here's what we're going to do. Ryan's going to check it out, and if you'll call that 800 number and leave us a phone number to get back to you, or an email, or if you tweet us with your email, we'll get back to you with an answer. And when we're back on the air, we'll also give you the answer. But generally, the answer is no, they can't restrict you in your apartment unless you have some contractual agreement. It doesn't sound like there's nothing in your lease on it. There's no rules you've signed on it.
Right, and you've been...
Right, and the next thing they could say is no drinking in the apartment.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, what's to stop them from going farther?
Yeah.
I understand, and you've been living there for some time now?
Yes.
Well, you know, they've got rules that say that you can restrict dogs from being in an apartment.
Right.
Right.
You can have senior-only apartments under certain circumstances. But their people know going in that these are the rules and regulations. I don't think at this point the law has gone that far. But if I'm wrong and there's an ordinance on it, we'll at least bring it to your attention. That doesn't say it's valid or not. That's another question.
Right, or it's yeah, it may not be enforceable, but it might be there. But we will take a look at that for you, Ralph.
Okay, thank you very much.
Wow, that's interesting.
Learn something new every day, maybe.
We'll get. Okay, let's go to the phone, and it's Deborah. Deborah, come on in. You're in Legal Help Live. You've just gotten a dinner or lunch for us for 2. How can we help you?
Yes, I had a question, and you were talking about bosses. And I wanted to know what legal steps could you take to against your managers from like following you around everywhere within the company?
Okay, yeah, we were talking about a new website that we put up there called mybossstinks.com, and it's an informational website about everything about discrimination and harassment on the job and payment of overtime and meals, etc. That's mybossstinks.com. Pretty easy to remember.
Okay.
So, what part of Southern California are you calling from?
Southern California, Los Angeles, California.
And what part of LA?
South Central.
Okay, so you're on a job. Is it a government job or is it private enterprise?
It's a government.
Okay, and the boss is following you around all the time?
All the time.
Why?
I don't know.
Wait, no, wherever you go, is this your immediate supervisor or the department head or?
It's department heads, floor line supervisors, all of them.
Okay, what kind of work do you do without, I don't want to get you in trouble on the job, but what kind of work do you do?
I would rather not say.
Okay, well, for instance, if you're working in a police department and you're a dispatcher, there are other people listening to calls. There are people walking around making sure they can help you if there's a problem. So just explain to Ryan and myself what this person does.
Well, it's just like every avenue I turn, every alleyway, every restrooms, break areas, everything. It's management's just always behind me, just 2 steps behind me.
Is this person a male or a female?
Male and females.
Wow.
And did you say restroom? Has the male ever followed you into the restroom?
No, not males, but female managers.
Okay. Are you in one of these sensitive jobs where it's?
Yes.
Well, it's difficult without knowing what the job is. Are you a member of a union in the bargaining unit in the city of LA?
Yes.
You know what I would do? You have a memorandum of understanding, which is basically a contract between the city and yourself, and it may well be that what they're doing violates the contract, the labor contract. And I think the first thing I do is I would go see the attorney for the union and find out whether or not what's going on is grievable and whether you can file a grievance and get it resolved through either arbitration or some type of negotiation with the union on your behalf.
Do you have any idea as to why? Are they signaling you out as compared to everyone else, or are they following everyone else as much as they follow you?
No, I'm like a prime target, seem like.
How many years you been there?
For about 20 years.
So you got lots of seniority. There's something going on. I think. Are you a member of the union?
Yes.
Have you been to the union?
Yes.
And they won't do anything?
Well, they did what they could, but it's just nonstop. It would not stop.
Wow, something going on there.
There's something definitely going on. Do you think it has anything to do with your gender, your race, your age? Because those sort of things are protected by the state of California, the laws itself, whether you are a union member or not.
Right.
Is there anything along those lines, or is it just like a personality conflict?
I think it's all above and a personality conflict, yes, that too.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. Are you computer savvy?
A little bit.
Okay, well, go to mybossstinks.com
Okay.
Take a look at the information that's on the website, mybossstinks.com, and then if you have any further questions on it, just call that 800 number and we'll try and get into it a little deeper off the air, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Wow, can you imagine working on a job and having somebody looking at you all the time? Wow.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, they used to do that to me all the time, didn't you?
Well, well, no, we're looking at your work all the time. 1-800-405-4222. 2 free meals for any place that we choose or Ryan chooses if we get you on the air. Wolf, how much time do we have till the break? Okay, when we come back for the break, we've got a video that we want to show you, which is we'll get into that in a minute. But so Mattel's been having its problems, huh?
I've heard a little bit about that. What recently?
Well, they went. They have. There's been these lawsuits going on between Mattel and Bratz over who's entitled to the profits on one of these dolls, and Mattel had a lawsuit going, and then there were cross complaints. It's the second time Mattel's lost. This time they lost. It went up on appeal, got reversed, went to retrial again, and the judgment was about $310 million. Ooh. And now it's up on appeal. So it's, and I'm sure the attorney fee award in this thing is going to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's pretty interesting. I call these doll wars. It does not sell as much as Star Wars, but they do make, Mattel makes all the
Bratz and...
Yeah, it's amazing. We're going to go to break now. When we come back, we'll be taking your calls. We're going to discuss baseball cards. We're going to go into a very kind of interesting video on accidents. We've got, we're going to talk about Kobe Bryant and his problems with the law. We're going to talk about the Fullerton mess that's going on down there, and any other areas that you want to talk about.
And I think we have a tweet too.
Oh, we're going to come back and untwitter you with a tweet. You become very electronic on there, I tell you.
I'm trying to.
We started out this show originally with what lawyers used to start out with a yellow tablet, and then we used to bring cell phones on.
Now we have this toy.
Now we have the iPads. It's amazing what's happened electronically.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go to break right now. When we come back, we'll get back and start off with a video. For those of you, we've got a line open in San Fernando Valley, one in South Central, and one in Los Angeles. The number is on the screen. This is Legal Help Live, and we'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Legal Help Live.
Our doors are open to all at St. Joseph Center, where we provide intervention, prevention, and education services. Our early childhood development centers encourage learning while parents seek work. Families receive food for the week. Case managers counsel seniors, veterans, and families. We also teach job skills to young and old. Experience the joy of helping at St. Joseph Center. We're planting hope, growing lives for all those in need.
A stranger on the phone said I won a sweepstakes, but I was smarter.
Someone tried to open a credit card in my name, but I was smarter.
A friend said I should sign my house over to him, but I was smarter.
The Los Angeles County Department of Consumer Affairs can help you avoid scams and protect your financial well-being. Don't become another victim of fraud. Call the Department of Consumer Affairs and we'll help you be
Smarter Seniors. Before Christmas, my life was a mess. I was incarcerated, a drug addict, totally confused and didn't have any sense of direction. Some of the things they did is they gave me mock interviews, they assist me with my application. What I'm doing now, I work for a company that gives me a lot of responsibilities, and it's been great. It's been good.
After my service ended, the biggest battle I faced was readjusting to civilian life. New Directions provides services specifically for women like you who face homelessness, substance abuse, and trauma.
I joined the military to save lives. New Directions helped me save my own.
If you were honorably discharged from the military, you're entitled to veteran services. Go to ndvets.org for help.
Ryan Kroll and Steve Solomon, lawyers in Southern California on Legal Help Live, are back. We said we'd be back, and we're back. For those of you who have just watched the show for the first time, this is a legal call-in show. You're live right now, and we're answering your questions. Anything about the law from A to Z, from animal rights to what happens if you prick your finger in a zoology lab and come down with some horrible disease. Do you have a lawsuit against the person who pricked you yourself? And is the pricking covered by insurance, or are you excluded?
In terms, the policies do contain that about pricking and zoology.
So when we left, we had some people waiting on the line. We're going to go to the phones. If you have any comments or questions, for those of you who get on the air, you call the 800 number after the show and leave your name and address, and we'll send you back dinner for two on our choice. And let's go to our next caller. Hello, Lewis, we're on the air. How are you?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Fantastic.
I've lived in a single apartment in Hollywood for about 40 years.
Now, is this West Hollywood or Hollywood?
Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got a notice on my door that the building has become non-smoking.
Wow.
And so I stopped smoking, but the landlord told me he entered my apartment because he had other people complaining that there was smoke coming out of my unit and sprayed very heavily in there, which made me sick.
Okay,
Is he allowed to come in my apartment for that?
The statutory law is, except in an emergency, they have to give you at least 24 hours notice that they're going in, and then they can only come in on reasonable times when it's convenient for you and convenient for them. They can't just walk into your apartment.
And spray in there? Can they spray?
Well, it depends on what they're spraying for. They got to give you notice of what's going on. They can't
No, he said it's because he smelled smoke.
Yeah,
but there was no evidence of anything in the ashtrays or anything like that, but he said he smelled smoke.
Well, for instance, if there's a fire inside of the apartment and a landlord's there, he can kick the door down and go in and try and put it out. On the other hand, if it's some ruse just to get inside of your apartment, it's totally violates the law. So I don't know whether.
Well, I'm on cheaper rent because I've been there so long, and I'm afraid to say anything.
Well, they can't evict you legally for speaking up. Are you in rent control?
Yes.
So it's almost impossible legally, as long as you're paying your rent on time. If you speak up and say things, it's not it would be a retaliatory eviction, and if that went on, you might own the apartment building. So
he said he had to come in because other tenants were complaining that there was smoke coming out of my apartment, and this is a non-smoking building.
Well, was there smoking? I don't want to comment on whether that was a valid basis or not. But if
I stopped smoking. He didn't find any evidence.
Were you in there?
No.
And there was Well, then there was no. So it's a ruse for some reason, and you need to get to the bottom of it. Is he going into other people's apartments?
I'm kind of a loner, and I don't speak to too many of the tenants.
Well,
but I think he wants to get me out because my rent's so low.
Well, you don't want to get out. If he tries to get you out, you can start now by making complaints to the Rent Control Board. You can start documenting it. You can take a look. Go on Google and just put in entry into apartments in California. There's a number of little form books on it. You can go on the State Bar website. There's a landlord-tenant section in there. You can read up on this stuff, get yourself knowledgeable on it, get a hold of a local, one of these nonprofit legal aid areas to go to, you can look on our website, and which is you can get to our website by just putting in ssjlaw.com or Legal Help Live, ssjlaw.com. We've got a whole section on links where you can click into the State Bar website or every free organization that gives free services is on there, so you can check it that way.
But is it illegal after 30 years to tell me I can't smoke in my, because I'm a smoker?
I don't think so. I just don't think so.
Is it legal to do so?
I don't. No.
I'd be shocked. Because you've been living there for so long that you're usually.
We've had some other calls on this. I'm sure you were listening to the show.
I heard somebody else say that.
We're going to look into this.
I don't understand why they could tell you not to smoke.
We're going to look.
I could see it in the hallways or something like that, but in your own apartment.
We're going to look. We're going to recheck this out, and the next.
Because I've talked to some other people in the area, and their buildings are becoming non-smoking.
Well, there's something going on. It may be. I bet you it's for insurance purposes too.
That could be.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a look at it, and we will report to you verbally. And if you drop us an email or call the 800 number and give us a way to get back to you, we'll answer to you by email or in writing. But we're going to talk about it on our next show.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, how much out there is doing this? It's shocking. But we definitely should figure out that answer.
Yeah, because I don't think it's true. I mean, if it sounds to me like it's one of those.
You're the one who wanted to ban it everywhere in the U.S.
Well, that was in the first 15 minutes of the show. As Abe said, it depends on who your client is at the time.
You've seen the light of my arguments and how correct I am.
Well, I don't know. That may be true. You're pretty bright. 1-800-405-4222, and let's zoom down to Wilmington and talk to Jim. What's happening down by San Pedro in the harbor? Jim, are you up there? Is Jim on the line or?
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, Jim, you're on the air. How can we help you? Oh, Jim, close your TV off.
Mr. Karen.
Turn the sound down.
A little bit more about it. Turn your TV off.
Oh, we got that.
Okay, we're doing it right now.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Okay, the problem was, my brother was very ill. He had 2 heart attacks, and we did not have. The house was in my brother's name, and he was very ill, and I didn't want it to go to probate.
Okay.
Okay, so the lawyer came out, and he did a living trust.
Okay.
Now, we got the papers back, but they made the mistake of putting my name on it and taking his name off, and due to that fact, they reassessed the property, and my brother had to pay $11,000 this year for taxes.
Okay, so what you're telling me is your brother was sick, and I hope he's doing better now.
Yes,
and they transferred the property to a trust, and for some reason they changed the owner of the property from your brother to you, and that was a mistake by the lawyer. And the county then
apparently so, and I've been trying to get in touch with the lawyer, and he's never in. He never returns my calls.
Okay, if they had just transferred the property from your brother to the trust, that would not have been a taxable transaction. Now, fortunately, Ryan is for Prop 13 reassessment. That's what we're talking about. Fortunately, Ryan's also a CPA in Florida, which sort of like being.
Well, don't laugh at that.
So it shouldn't have been a taxable transaction. There was a mistake in the paperwork, which caused you a reassessment. Now, I have not seen the papers. I am just telling you that if in fact that's happened, you need to get it corrected. And if there's any additional cost, that's going to be $10,000 a year for a long time. You need to go to another lawyer ASAP, get that corrected, and then you need through that lawyer to contact the attorney's firm that did it and put them on notice of a potential malpractice case. And I haven't seen the paper, so I'm not saying they malpractice, but you've got a short time period to do that. It's called a statute of limitation. So how old's your brother?
How long is that statute of limitation?
How long ago did this happen?
This happened in the 5th month.
The minimum would be a year.
Right, it's 1 year from discovery and no more than 4 years, but for
Okay.
this purpose, assume
Okay.
it's right away,
Because
so 1 year.
I was going into the place where they did the taxes, and nobody's never there either. And it's
Well-
like, I went in there, and they said, well, is your brother dead? I said, no, my brother's home. He's in his room. And they said, well, bring it back the paperwork, and every time I go back, they're not in. Go to the lawyer, they're not in.
Okay, you need to stop. You need.
Deed's in my name, and I can't believe it because my brother is not gone.
You need to get to another law firm.
Okay.
The Long Beach Bar Association is in your area down there. I'd call a local lawyer in the Long Beach area and make an appointment. They have a referral service down there.
Right.
You can get in to see an attorney who deals in trusts and estates and get that resolved. And then at the same time, I would see someone who deals in potential malpractice cases. If the lawyer's not getting back to you, you get a hold of the state bar. You get on our website, ssjlaw.com, and it'll give you the state bar website, phone number, etc., or just look on a computer for State Bar of California. There's a complaint section. I'd make a complaint. Lawyers are supposed to get back to you. They're supposed to return phone calls. They're supposed to return letters. And I want you to call back in a couple weeks and tell us that you've done it, okay?
Okay, will do. Thank you so much.
Okay, wow. It's, that's a tough situation.
It is. And it's shocking. It's not a week goes by. I do the show, I don't hear someone calling in saying their attorney won't get back to them.
I don't know why. Most problems, let me just talk about, it's not just lawyers, any place. This is a feel-good society. If you go in to a veterinarian or a toy store or a restaurant, if the person makes you feel good, and even if they spill a gallon of water on your pants, but it's a mistake, you're normally not going to do anything about it.
Right.
But it's when you not return the calls and do these things, lawyers, doctors, that's when they get in trouble. It sounds to me like our gentle Director Wolf saying we're going to go to break now. We will. This is Legal Help Live. We'll be right back to take your calls, and stay right with us. Ryan and Steve out, and we'll be right back after break.
Stay tuned for more Legal Help Live.
$5 feeds 20 people?
Pretty amazing, huh?
Who gets this food?
Seniors, Gulf War veterans, and families trying to make ends meet.
All right, here's $5. Wow, that was fast.
We don't mess around.
How fast can you make this work?
Thank you.
No, miss.
Thank you. You can be a hero too. Please donate to the Westside Food Bank.
Hey kids, what if you saved enough money to buy your own thing? You could buy a video game or even a car one day. You could even help your parents out and pay your own way through college. Let's start by playing a fun game I created just for you. Begin by splitting up every dollar you receive. Put 7 dimes in your spending jar, 2 dimes in your save-a-little jar, and 1 dime in your future jar. To find out more about this game, have your parents help you log on to kidsfinance.com.
Being in foster care was like always living in someone else's house. Being adopted means me and my brother and my sister never have to move again. Last week, our new parents took us to the beach. We'd never seen the ocean before. We collected seashells, and we ate ice cream, and we built a sandcastle, and it was awesome.
Small things mean a lot to a child in foster care. For more information on how you can foster or adopt a child, contact Share Your Heart LA today.
As life transitions,
Volunteer opportunities.
senior resources,
Your trusted source.
We're back. Ryan Kroll over here, lawyer extraordinaire. You can sort of see his eyes and face through the beard, but you know, he's cut his hair, so now you can actually. I couldn't recognize you, man.
I look respectable now, huh?
Yeah, you look at least under 60 now. I think it's great, man. Somebody said, well, "Why don't you wear more powder?" I said, "I fought very hard for these wrinkles, you know."
You sure did.
I had a great experience, and I'll get to it. I was selected to be a presenter at the Emmys for the LA area. That was probably unbelievable. And I want to kudos to Robin G, the producer of this show, and she got another Emmy, her 7th Emmy. And I was so happy to be able to see her there doing it. Yay, Robin! That's exciting. 1-800-405-4222. If you've got an employment law problem and you want to get information on it, we've got a new website out. It's called mybossStinks.com. mybossStinks.com. It's not a BO thing. It's not about body odor. It's about discrimination, wage problems, employment problems, getting laid off, etc. mybossStinks.com. And hopefully we can give you some information that way that you can't get on the air from us. So let's go back to the calls. Jorge, come on in. We're ready for your call.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I had a question about warrants, that if the police come to your house with a warrant, does it have to specify what they're looking for, or is it open? Oh, let me...
Okay, here's what a warrant is. A warrant's a lawful court order, or at the time they come in is a lawful court order, issued by the Superior Court or the federal court to search a specific area. In order to get a warrant, they have to present sworn testimony, usually by affidavit, which is things written out and then sworn or in person under oath, probable cause to believe that evidence of a crime is at a certain location. And the judge then reviews it. If he or she believes there's sufficient evidence thereto, they sign it, and a warrant is issued for specific areas to search. It generally doesn't say on it what they're searching for. It gives them the right to search. The for information is attached in the affidavits, etc., which you may get if you get prosecuted. If you don't get prosecuted, you may never ever get the attachments thereto. So if someone comes to your house in a uniform or appropriately identifies them as a police officer, they have a right to be there, assuming they are officers and assuming they show you the warrant, and then you just keep your mouth quiet and let them do what they're going to do. Don't put your hands on them. Don't argue with them. There's nothing you can do about it. They'll do their search, and then you'll have your remedies thereafter.
Yeah, well, my question was, if they were, let's say if they thought I did a hit and run or something, and they came to my house and with a warrant, and they, what would they be looking for? I mean,
well, it depends on the crime. If it's a hit and run, they may want to be looking in the garage, assuming this warrant says that, to look for paint transfers on the car or dents, or if the person driving the car was wearing a clown costume with a large afro wig, they would be looking in the house for the clown costume or the large afro wig or the big red nose that was seen. So it really depends on they're looking for evidence of the crime. But if they find something else, for instance, they're looking for the clown costume, and they come across an arsenal of bazookas and automatic weapons, I will no doubt that this will go from hit and run to possession of illegal, inappropriate weapons, and you'll get yanked off in handcuffs. So when they're doing a legal search, whatever they come upon may well be used against you for another crime.
Has this always been this way, or is this something that's changed in the past 20 years?
Well, it used to be. The Constitution has been around for a long, long time. It used to be that without warrants, people would get stopped and searched and frisked, etc. But in your house and in private places, they have to go to a court, which is a neutral body, and get the warrant. This has been around, in America for numbers and numbers of years. The courts have interpreted, cars are different. They may be able to search your cars, and they can if they have a reason to stop your car without warrants. There's all kinds of exceptions to all this, but actually the warrant is protection for you. It allows a judge to look at evidence first to decide whether or not they should be able to go into your house. If not, people get their doors kicked in all the time. Now, this is different than hot pursuit. If they're chasing you down the street because you just robbed somebody and you run into a house, they can go right after you. But the warrant protects you. At least it's supposed to.
Yeah, because I was wondering, it seems like nowadays that if they can't get you on the initial crime, they'll find something else that they find in your home to prosecute you on that, even though it might not be connected to the initial crime. Like if they came into my house and if they thought I'd robbed somebody, but if I had a prescription drug that wasn't in my name and they couldn't find me for the burglary, whatever they thought I did, they could prosecute me for having an illegal prescription in my home.
Well, that's been the law for a long time.
It has, though.
But they have to have a real cause to get into your house. Once they get into your house, a lot of things are fair game.
Yeah, if you have bad things laying out, they're not required to turn a blind eye to, and that's been the law for some time. They have to have a high level to get into your house, but once there, they can't go snooping into places they're not supposed to go. But if it's in plain view or if they come across it during a legitimate search, they don't have to turn a blind eye to it, and they can charge you.
For instance, they get into your house with a search warrant, and sitting on the table, you're manufacturing methamphetamines. You're gone, or you've got a syringe and heroin, and you're just cooking up some drugs at the time. That's in plain sight. You're gone. The difficulty is for them to get into your house. If they don't have a legal basis to get into your house or other private areas, then they can't go in there. But a warrant is for your protection.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I just was wondering. I thought it was the other way around.
No, only on TV shows and movies.
Oh,
you've been watching too much Law and Order.
Oh no! I thought when I was in high school, I took a law class, and I thought that's what they had said. This was 50 years ago, but I thought the warrant had to be specific.
It does.
It called out something, and
it does.
They couldn't just go on a hunt to find something.
No, but they had to get the warrant. It has to be specific, and the areas to search have to be specific. But the probable cause is in the affidavits to get in, and the judge rules on whether or not that's specific enough and whether or not it's a factual and legal basis to get in. Okay.
I had one other question. Are you on every week at this time?
I got to be fair. I got a bunch of callers hanging on, so if you could call back next time, I want to get the next caller on. Okay.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
And call in call in. Maury from Playa del Rey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'd like to make a comment about the repealing of Proposition 13.
Absolutely.
Yes, I worked 36 years at the same company, and mostly 6 days, and I was able to buy a condo in Playa del Rey. And my right now, I'm not a large means, so most of my money's in the bank, which has lost 80% of its income due to the drop in big interest rates. My Social Security has been frozen for 3 or 4 years. How do they expect me to pay more taxes?
Listen, I agree with you 100%, but this young guy over here, he doesn't understand yet.
I would lose my condo. I can't afford to pay more taxes.
I was never talking about residential properties.
Well, once they do it to the other property, that's just the next step is to do it to me.
Right on. You're absolutely right, Maury. And I tell you, there got to be more people like you out there. You got to stand up. You got to vote. If it gets on the ballot, you got to vote against it. And you got to watch out for guys like this over here who just don't really understand.
I mean, I work.
But I'll let you smoke in your house if you want.
Time. Can they take it away from me?
No. First of all, it's not going to happen. There's too many good people like you out there. It's not going to happen. And
by the way, my name's Marty.
Okay, well, I'm going to call you Maury, but you're known as Marty. Marty, we got to go. It's the end of the show. Thanks for calling in. Call that number with your address for your free lunch or dinner on us, and we'll send it.
So you think pretty confidently it's not going to be residential, huh?
Well, I don't think it's going to pass anyway.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.
Well, it's time to get out of here. We got to skedaddle. Ryan, you were great today.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if I picked on you too much, but you deserve it for the positions you've been taking. There's no censorship on this show. Thank you very much. Remember, if you've got questions about disability or hostile environment or sex discrimination or anything in the employment area, mybossstinks.com is our no informational thing. mybossstinks.com. We want to thank you for listening to and calling in on Legal Help Live. We'll be here soon.
Come check us out.
And have a great day, and let's get our troops back healthy and safe from where we're out fighting those wars right now. The information given on this program is not, nor is it intended to be legal advice. You should consult an attorney for individual advice regarding your own situation. Legal Help Live is brought to you by Pan's Restaurant and Coffee Shop at 6710 La Tierra Boulevard in Los Angeles. Barney's Beanery at 8447 Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood. iLearnFast.com, a division of CityCom. And Rodolfo Buonacorte at www.rodolfobuonacorte.com.